I'm so happy to be back at week 3 with you guys. So this week we're going to be talking about healthy communication. So we're going to start by grabbing our journal if you don't already have it and answering this question in your journal. So I want you to finish this sentence. A time when I stood up for myself was, okay, grab your journal, answer that question. A time when I stood up for myself was, awesome. Okay, so the first communication style that I want to go over is assertive communication. Assertive communication. So this is when you say exactly what you're thinking on your mind, you're bold about it, you're not too mean, but you're not too shy. This is a really great way to communicate. It's the best way to communicate. So when you're having a disagreement with somebody, you should be using a lot of I statements. Now, I statements are whenever you start a sentence with I, and maybe it looks like I feel blank, right? So if you're trying to use assertive communication, be bold, straightforward, telling people what you think, you should be using a lot of I statements. Now, whenever we use I statements, it helps kind of express how we're feeling and get our point across without putting the blame on other people. And really, this helps you communicate assertively. Okay, so the next communication style that I want to go over is aggressive communication. Now, I feel like we probably all know what aggressive communication is, but we'll go over it a little bit more. So when you communicate in a way that is mean or threatening, it's considered aggressive communication. Typically, when you're communicating aggressively, there's a lot of you statements going on. So we call these you statements or blaming statements. So you did this, you're stupid, you're mean, you're whatever, right? And this really isn't helpful when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody and keep level-headed. So aggressive communication could look different depending on the person that's using it. I think typically when we think of aggressive communication, we think of somebody maybe yelling really loud or using some sort of physical abuse. But also, if a person is like staring or pointing their finger in your face or just blaming you for things that really don't have anything to do with you or aren't your fault, maybe they're threatening with words, maybe they're not letting you speak. Those are all ways of communicating aggressively, and those are all things that are not okay. Like I said, I feel like whenever we think of aggression, we have this one kind of viewpoint on it of somebody just yelling and maybe hurting you physically. But also there's a lot of other ways to communicate aggressively that is also not okay. So the last communication style that we're going to talk about is passive. So passive communication is when a person is maybe really shy or quiet about their opinions or feelings. They don't really speak up when they want to speak up. Maybe this person has a hard time saying no to other people. Maybe they have negative thoughts about themselves and very self-conscious. Maybe this person's avoiding eye contact. So in your video response to this, let me know why you think this is not a good way to communicate. So passive communication, like I said, is when someone just doesn't kind of say what they're feeling. So why could that be a bad thing and how could that be hurtful to that person? Okay, so like I said, assertive communication is the way that we want to communicate. We want to tell people straightforward what we think, what we want, what we need, right? You don't want to be too shy about it because then maybe your point won't get across. And then you don't, of course, want to be too aggressive or mean about it because that's just not helpful to you or anybody else. So I have 3 steps that are going to help you communicate more assertively. So the first one we already kind of talked about is using I statements. So it means starting sentences with I feel, okay? So that could look like I feel disappointed, okay? Now step 2 is saying I want or I need and finishing that sentence. This may look like something like I want you to keep your promises. Now, by saying what you want or need, it's very important because it sets boundaries. And if you set boundaries with people, letting them know what is okay and what is not okay for you, that is really helpful to both people. So the last step, step 3, is I will. okay, and finishing that sentence. So what will you contribute also to help the problem that you're having? So let's say that you're having a problem with a friend, and they maybe told other people your secret that you told them. So if you put all those 3 steps together, you would tell your friend, I feel betrayed. I want you to not tell my secrets to other people. I will not be friends with you if you do that again. Now, that may seem like a mean thing to say, but you shouldn't have a friend who is telling your secrets, right? Or you shouldn't have a partner who embarrasses you in front of other people on purpose, right? So it's okay to set boundaries. And if somebody gets upset with you because you are setting boundaries, maybe that person is not the right person to have in your life, whether that be a friend or a dating partner. You setting boundaries, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, like I said, boundaries and saying what you want and need is a positive thing. Okay, so you should have some papers in your Wonder Girls bag that is a quiz, and it lets you know if you are an assertive communicator. So what I want you to do is I want you to post a video reply. Let me know what your score was of that quiz, and if you feel like it's accurate, if you feel like the score that you got represents you. Okay, also let me know about these 3 communication styles. I know we talked about assertive communication being the best way to communicate, but sometimes it takes a little practice on our end. So do you communicate aggressively or maybe passively? It's okay to admit that because we're all trying to learn. So let me know in your video reply which way that you communicate. Okay, that is it. That is all that I have for you, Wonder Girls. I look forward to seeing your responses.